When I was young, I'd really fancied the Pulsars, especially the 150s and 180s. I really used to love the 180 because of the, the kind of howl that they used to produce, the exhaust note and everything. And one of my dad's friends used to own a 180. Whenever it's parked outside, I used to go around it, have a look at it, look at the handlebar. It used to have a different handlebar setup over here, So it used to be really appealing to me. And after many years, I'm riding the biggest Pulsar ever, Pulsar NS400Z. I feel so nostalgic at the moment because I never thought that I would ride this.
So before we jump into the video, I just want to give you guys a gist of the specs we have over here. So this is a liquid-cooled 373cc engine churning out a sweet 40 PS at 8,800 RPM and 35 Nm of torque at 6,500 RPM. It comes with a smooth 6-speed transmission and an assist and slipper clutch. It's all about that power delivery. Handling wise, we are talking a 43mm UST front suspension and a rear monoshock with 6-step adjustability. And when it's time to hit the brakes, it's got you covered with a responsive setup featuring 320mm and 230mm discs from Grimeca. Cost cutting done there. We've got front and rear tires sized at 110/70/17 and 140/70/17 with a ground clearance of 168mm and a wheelbase of 134mm and a comfy seat of 807mm. I could plant foot completely. Fuel tank, check. 12 liters. Curb weight, 174 kilos. 18 kilos lighter than the Dominar. Now enough of the specs, now let's get into riding.
There's been a lot of speculations that this bike is very similar to the Dominar, this bike is very similar to NS200, and being a 400cc, this should have been a bit more bulkier. Now then, I'm gonna answer all of that from my perspective. Please don't take this in an offensive way because this is my personal opinions about the bike. So first thing is this looking like an NS200. Obviously, because this is what they wanted. It was intentional. In my opinion, this is still named the NS, so it's not a whole different bike. So obviously it is expected to have similar design features as the NS200. Yeah, so I think in that way they done it intentionally to look like the NS and maintain the NS DNA into this bike. And I respect that because there's a lot of NS200 fans in India for sure. So in that way I kind of respect that they have kept the similar design elements into this. And the second problem that I've been seeing is that this being not bulky and it's so small, it's so light, it doesn't give you that 400cc feel. And they also compare this to the Dominar 400, that being bulky and also 18 kilos heavier than this bike, having the same kind of engine. Why this is 18 kilos lighter and it's got a small form factor? This is the problem that many of them have been having. So I think, in my personal opinion, I don't see a problem for this bike being lighter than the Dominar 400 by 18 kilos, because again, it's the DNA of NS. NS has always been lighter. They are known for the nimble and flickability, I guess. Also, this is a street fighter, not a sports tourer like the Dominar, so obviously this should be a lot lighter than the Dominar. For touring, you need a heavier bike for it to have proper stability and all that. So my point is that Dominar is a sports tourer, hence the weight, and NS being light is a street fighter, hence the weight. Yeah, I think that sums it up. That should. And also, cost cutting is also a part of lightness of the bike. They wanted to make the NS affordable to the previous NS200 owners who's already probably fed up with 200cc's, and now they want a bit more power. And the third problem that people have been commenting is that this bike has the exact same engine of the Dominar 400, and that I kind of accept. They could have come up with a new NS400 engine, which would have been a game changer. The reason that they're stating for using the same Dominar 400 engine in this bike is because to cut the expenses. You know, to design a new engine will have a lot of R&D and, you know, production costs and all that, so that would normally make the bike's ex-showroom price go up. So they wanted this bike to be cheap, and they've used the Dominar 400 engine. I mean, it's not like Bajaj is the only bike that uses the same engine in another bike of the same company. Royal Enfield exists, and it's not a bad thing because Dominar is 18 kilos heavier, and you get that same engine with all that power in this bike. So this is obviously going to be more peppier and more what do you say, more spicy. Yeah. That's how peppier this engine is. I feel like this is way too quick. Also, this got 4 different riding modes, that is road and sport and off-road. I'm not sure what's the next one. Hold on, let me check. So you get road, sport, rain and off-road. And the good thing about this bike is that you can actually change the modes as you're riding. Oh my god, okay. Yeah, so I wouldn't suggest you to do that. I can definitely say that the seat is not very comfortable for long tours. So if you're planning to buy this for long tours, then you probably need to consider getting a seat modification or a better seat. Also, these dials and these plastics are not the best, I would say, or at least not at par with Dominar 400, which, you know, kind of justifies the price range of this. I think there's been some cost cutting done there. Yeah, everything else seems to be really the same as the NS200.
Overall, I quite like this bike. I appreciate that Bajaj stuck with the NS DNA and produced a rather decent bike. Apart from the 3 issues or questions or comments that I mentioned, one more caught my attention. What if the NS400Z overtakes Dominar 400 sales? Wouldn't that impact Dominar 400 sales? My response to that is simply, who is even buying Dominar these days? The market for it has already declined. And considering the fact that the abundance of 400cc bikes in the segment, people have more options now. And to top it off, I would like to conclude by saying that this bike rides like an NS200, but with more power. You guys know the drill. Like the video, share the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.